The Zodiac Killer is one of the most infamous and enigmatic serial killers in history, whose identity remains a mystery more than 50 years after the crimes took place. The Zodiac is known for his brutal murders, cryptic letters, and taunting interactions with the media and police, leaving behind a trail of fear, frustration, and confusion. The Zodiac's known crimes began in 1968 in the San Francisco Bay Area, where he murdered a young couple, Betty Lou Jensen, 16, and David Faraday, 17, on a remote road outside Vallejo, California. They were shot while sitting in a car on December 20th, and while the killings were brutal, there were no immediate signs of a connection to any previous or later murders. However, it was the following attack that would set the pattern for the Zodiac's modus operandi. On July 4, 1969, the Zodiac struck again, this time targeting Darlene Ferrin, 22, and Michael Maggio, 19, at Blue Rock Springs Park, also in Vallejo. The killer approached the couple's car, shot both, and then fled the scene. Maggio survived the attack and was able to give a description of the killer, but there were no immediate arrests. Just weeks later, on September 27, 1969, the Zodiac would claim his next victims, Brian Hartnell, 20, and Cecilia Ann Shepard, 22, a young couple enjoying a day near Lake Berryessa. This time, the killer approached them while they were sitting by the water, wearing an executioner-style hood with a symbol of a cross circle, and he tied them up before stabbing them repeatedly. Hartnell survived the attack and was able to provide an important description of the killer. In a chilling twist, the Zodiac made his presence known even more publicly after the Lake Berryessa attack. He wrote a letter to the San Francisco Chronicle and included a cipher containing 340 characters, which the killer demanded be published. This was the first of several letters he sent to the press, boasting of his crimes and mocking law enforcement for their inability to catch him. Over the next year, the Zodiac would continue to send more letters and ciphers, including a symbol he used to sign his name, a cross inside a circle. These letters were filled with strange, cryptic messages and threats, adding an element of psychological torment to the case. The killer even suggested he would kill again, showing no remorse for his actions and enjoying the fear he generated. The Zodiac's behavior became even more brazen with a letter he sent in 1970 that included a detailed description of the stabbing of a taxi driver, Paul Stein, in Presidio Heights, San Francisco. Stein's murder would be the last known Zodiac killing, though the killer claimed to have murdered many more. After this killing, the Zodiac seemed to vanish. Despite several more letters over the next few years, the police were unable to track him down. He would later boast of his ability to escape justice, stating, "I am the killer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman Road." The investigation into the Zodiac Killer has been one of the most complicated and frustrating in criminal history. The killer's ability to evade capture, coupled with his cryptic letters and phone calls to the police, created an air of mystery that still haunts law enforcement to this day. The case has been characterized by several factors that made it especially difficult to solve. The lack of concrete physical evidence, the killer's ability to blend into society, and the variety of misleading and incomplete clues left behind. A key issue with the investigation was the lack of eyewitness identification. In many cases, victims were either dead or too wounded to provide detailed descriptions of their attacker. Furthermore, despite several suspects over the years, none were ever definitively linked to the murders through DNA or other evidence. Over the years, numerous theories have emerged about the Zodiac's identity. Some suspects have included local residents, criminals, and even law enforcement officers. One of the most famous theories is that the Zodiac Killer was a man named Arthur Lee Allen, a convicted child molester who lived near the crime scenes. While Allen was investigated extensively and was even a prime suspect for many years, there was no conclusive evidence that he was the killer. In 2002, DNA tests ruled him out as a match to the evidence found at the crime scenes. Other theories suggest the killer could have been someone with an obsession with ciphers and puzzles, leading some to speculate that he was a highly intelligent individual, possibly with a background in education or mathematics. Some have even suggested that the Zodiac might have been a group of people working together, though this theory has not gained widespread support. In recent years, advancements in genetic genealogy have reignited interest in the Zodiac case. Investigators have attempted to use DNA evidence to track down new leads, but despite some promising developments, the killer's true identity remains elusive. The case is also complicated by the fact that the Zodiac may have committed other murders or attacks that have not yet been conclusively linked to him. In addition to the investigation, the Zodiac's cryptic letters have also been a major part of the mystery. Many of these letters contain ciphers, some of which have been cracked over the years, but others remain unsolved. In 2020, a team of codebreakers finally decoded one of the Zodiac's ciphers, revealing a message that was more boastful than anything else, but still providing no real clue to the killer's identity. The Zodiac Killer case has influenced popular culture and inspired numerous films, books, and documentaries. In 2007, the film Zodiac, directed by David Fincher, brought the story of the investigation to a wider audience, sparking renewed interest in the case. Despite the many theories and suspicions surrounding the identity of the killer, the Zodiac's true identity remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in criminal history. The investigation continues to this day, with cold case units periodically revisiting the evidence. Advances in forensic technology, such as DNA testing and genetic genealogy, offer new hope that one day the Zodiac Killer might finally be identified and brought to justice. However, until that day comes, the killer's identity remains one of the most puzzling and chilling enigmas in criminal history, a mystery that continues to captivate the public's imagination and frustrate investigators.